A smartphone is a mobile device that combines cellular and mobile computing functions into one unit. They are distinguished from feature phones by their stronger hardware capabilities and extensive mobile operating systems, which facilitate wider software, Internet integrated circuit. Early smartphones were marketed primarily towards the enterprise market, attempting to bridge the functionality of standalone personal digital assistant and more mature software platforms that allowed mobile device ecosystems to develop independently of data providers. In the 2000s, NTT Docomo's iMode platform, BlackBerry, Nokia's Symbian platform, and Windows Mobile began to gain market traction, with models often featuring QWERTY keyboards or resistive touchscreen input, and emphasizing access to push email and wireless internet. Following the rising popularity of the iPhone in the late 2000s, the majority of smartphones have featured thin, slate-like form factors, with large, capacitive screens with support for multi-touch gestures rather than physical keyboards, and offer the ability for users to download or purchase additional applications from a centralized store, and use cloud storage and synchronization, virtual assistants, as well as mobile payment services. Smartphones have largely replaced PDAs and handheld, palm-sized PCs. Improved hardware and faster wireless communication have bolstered the growth of the smartphone industry. In the third quarter of 2012, 1 billion smartphones were in use worldwide. Global smartphone sales surpassed the sales figures for feature phones in early 2013. The development of the smartphone was enabled by several key technological advances. The exponential scaling and miniaturization of MOSFETs. Other important enabling factors include the lithium-ion battery, an indispensable energy source enabling long battery life, invented in the 1980s and commercialized in 1991, and the development of more mature software platforms that allowed mobile device ecosystems to develop independently of data providers. In the early 1990s, IBM engineer Frank Conover realized that chip and wireless technology was becoming small enough to use in handheld devices. The first commercially available device that could be properly referred to as a smartphone began as a prototype called Angler, developed by Conover in 1992 while at IBM and demonstrated in November of that year at the COMDEX Computer Industry Trade Show. A refined version was marketed to consumers in 1994 by Bell South under the name Simon Personal Communicator. In addition to placing and receiving cellular calls, the touchscreen-equipped Simon could send and receive faxes and emails. It included an address book, calendar, appointment scheduler, calculator, world time clock, and notepad, as well as other visionary mobile applications such as maps, stock reports and news. The IBM Simon was manufactured by Mitsubishi Electric, which integrated features from its own wireless personal digital assistant and cellular radio technologies. It featured a liquid crystal display and PC card support. The Simon was commercially unsuccessful, particularly due to its bulky form factor and limited battery life, using NiCad batteries rather than the nickel metal hydride batteries commonly used in mobile phones in the 1990s, or lithium-ion batteries used in modern smartphones. The term smartphone was not coined until a year after the introduction of the Simon, appearing in print as early as 1995, describing AT&T's phone writer communicator. The term smartphone was first used by Ericsson in 1997 to describe a new device concept, the GS88. Beginning in the mid-late 1990s, many people who had mobile phones carried a separate dedicated PDA device, running early versions of operating systems such as Palm OS, Newton OS, Symbian or Windows CE, Pocket PC. These operating systems would later evolve into early mobile operating systems. Most of the smartphones in this era were hybrid devices that combined these existing familiar PDA OSs with basic phone hardware. The results were devices that were bulkier than either dedicated mobile phones or PDAs, but allowed a limited amount of cellular internet access. PDA and mobile phone manufacturers competed in reducing the size of devices. The bulk of these smartphones combined with their high cost and expensive data plans, plus other drawbacks such as expansion limitations and decreased battery life compared to separate standalone devices, generally limited their popularity to early adopters and business users who needed portable connectivity. In March 1996, Hewlett-Packard released the Omni Go 700LX, a modified HP 200LX palm-top PC with a Nokia 2110 mobile phone piggybacked onto it and ROM-based software to support it. It had a 640x200 resolution CGA-compatible 4-shade grayscale LCD screen and could be used to place and receive calls, and to create and receive text messages, emails and faxes. It was also 100% DOS 5.0 C.